down at the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, we have our blue Protoss player from SlayerS. Their newest player, it is Genius. And he's won 2 games in a row against his opponent's team from Team Liquid. Here in the upper right-hand corner, their 3rd Zerg player so far in this set, it is Rhett.
That's right, Rhett, known for his ability to gather Twitter followers.
That's true. By the way, follow him at Liquid Rhett.
Many signs,
so,
yeah, at Liquid Rhett.
At Liquid Rhett.
Follow him there.
Yep.
Can never
at
have
Liquid
enough of
Rhett,
those.
if you didn't know.
Yep, that's right. You can all follow us, too, on Twitter. We're on Twitter.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
What's
I
your
am
Twitter?
at Kevinaki, and yours is?
At Gosudoa.
Ooh.
Yeah, so follow us, too. We like to tweet. We may even tweet about Rhett sometimes, but right now we're just going to talk about him, talk about his ZVP. He's playing so good right now. I mean, Rhett has obviously been to Korea. He's practiced in Korea, you know, a long time. He was in the GSL on a couple occasions, I think. He was in Code A, got a seed for that at some point. Was it early last year? It was a long time ago now, but, you know, he has been playing StarCraft 2 since its inception, since the beta. He's been one of the most dominant non-Koreans out there. And his results, I feel like, are slowly getting, you know, better progressively. It seems like he's a player that has improved, you know, from what we've seen back in the day.
And it looks like he is going to drop down a 15 pool, so nothing too out of the ordinary, making sure that he keeps pool first to stay extra safe against his opponent. This is a map where I've seen some players decide to go hatch first because Protoss players love to go for Nexus first here as well, but better to stay safe than sorry. Make sure you can defend against those cannons at the beginning of the game.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you don't want to die to cannons. That is not a lot of fun. What was that match from the TSL just the other day? It was Elfie versus who? I'm trying to remember. Elfie versus Life. That's right.
Oh my God, those games were just ridiculous. Elfie was up 0-2 at the beginning of that.
That was
on the back of cannons and ridiculous.
Such a sad, funny series.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, there you go.
If cannoned, 6 pool. So
I don't know. Life is one of my favorite Zergs right now too. So that was a pretty crazy series. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to see any cannon rushing this time around. Genius is not above cannon rushing himself, but he generally doesn't do it all that much. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Plus, it wasn't a hatch first anyway, so.
Right, and it's only if it's situational for him, so if he knows he can take advantage of it.
Exactly.
But as we can see, he did decide to go Nexus first. Forge came up after that. Gateway's already on the way, so this is shaping up to be pretty normal stuff on Daybreak. Zerglings being sent out. We've already seen that Genius doesn't really care to drop down pylons. He'll just block with his probe for a while, and that's about all. He wants all the macro advantage he can keep for himself, or at least getting the structures down earlier so he doesn't disrupt his build or timing spec at home.
Right, right. Now, Rhett's got the 3-hatch build going, playing pretty standard on this map against Protoss. Most Zergs do like to get that right now in the current metagame versus Protoss player, although, you know, we did see some variations earlier today. Obviously, with the Gateway Expand, you want to respond a little bit differently as Zerg, but all in all, liking the 3-hatch these days. So I'm curious to see what Rhett is going to try. Daybreak is really a map where you can do, you know, pretty much anything you can think of with Zerg versus Protoss. It's a map where really all the current popular strategies in ZVP work pretty well. You can roach max, you can go for quicker broodlords, you can get mutalisks if you find yourself in a situation where that's going to work. So Rhett's got a lot of options. By the same token, Genius has a lot of options as well. I mean, that's one of the great things about Daybreak as a map, is that you can just do a lot of very different things. So scouting is really always what's key on this map, is making sure you have units in position to try to get as much information as you can about what your opponent is up to. So we'll have to look to see that these players do that. You can see right now Rhett getting his overlords in position. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, certainly. And the question is, how quickly does he want to tech up? We saw kind of you know, both varieties, or both extremes, I guess I should say. Xenio obviously waiting on roaches for a really long time, overcommitted with a few of them, and it meant that he couldn't get very powerful units out there to help defend, and his roach army was kind of killed on Antigua. Chef, though, wanted to just do some backstabs and counterattacks as a way to secure himself upper tier 3 tech. And we'll see if Rhett has something else in mind. Of course, he's well known for playing, quote-unquote, the game of drones and very macro-intensive, so we'll certainly find out his strategy soon.
Yeah, that's definitely right. Now, the thing with Rhett as well, the thing with a lot of Zerg players right now is that the good old roach maxing, as they like to call it in the community, isn't quite as popular as it used to be. It's a situation where you really need to get in there and do damage. If you can't, you will probably die to a counterattack. You know, as we saw from Zenio, he, you know, waited on roaches for a long time, and that can be pretty dangerous. It's essentially almost a bit of an all-in. You know, you can be all-in in that you pull all your SCVs or drones or whatever and just don't have an economy when it's all done. But you can be all-in as far as tech is concerned too. You know, you can wait so long that when it comes down to it, when it comes down to those later game fights, your opponent is just always going to have a better composition because they didn't wait. They didn't delay their tech. So you got to be careful. If you're going to be getting a lot of roaches in ZVP, you need to do damage.
That is very true, Mr. Doa.
Thank you.
And looks like, once again, though, Rhett is powering ahead with his drone count. He's going to be on 71 here. No, I do. I mean, we saw it. It stood out to me the most kind of when Parting was playing versus Terran players with his 3 Nexus 8-gate style, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times it's, no, but it was really cool for a little while, but it wasn't all in because even though he was sitting on 3 bases with a lot of workers, he had so long to go to catch up that he was never able to respond to the higher tech out of his opponents. So,
yeah.
All right, well, back on Genius's side of things, starting with that Immortal production. Second one is out, and oh, how many actually? That is 2, and a Warp Prism following this up. So he is going to put on some pressure with 6 gates in that Robo right now.
Yep, that's right. That big 2-base pressure. This is probably the most powerful 2-base that Protoss can bring against Zerg right now, and it seemed that way to me for a long time. I've verified it with several pro Zerg players. This is the one that they're really worried about, and the trouble is that if you have a lot of roaches, it's going to be tough because they're going to have those Immortals. You really have to get in there and get a good first engagement. If that first engagement lets you kill off a lot of the sentries, and you're going to be in a good shape to defend the rest of it. But it really depends on that. Oh, that's a good start for Rhett. Getting in there on that Immortal, but just wasn't able to finish it off.
Yeah, but he only lost a couple of Zerglings there, and he already baited out 3 force fields. So, I mean, not the worst exchange for him, but he's certainly got to step it up here from here on out. He's got 11 roaches on the way now.
You have to be so careful engaging this. He does have those 11 roaches on the way, but he needs to kill those sentries immediately. And while you focus down those sentries, you're going to be losing units to those Immortals too. So it can be a little bit difficult. The Stalker count's getting quite high as well. Rhett trying to flank. Oh, it's Zerglings running away at the last moment.
Yeah, looks like he's just waiting until he gets some more forces up. But now, I mean, this is a very stout roach-killing force already for Genius.
Yeah, that's the thing is that if you make too many roaches, you're dead. If you make too many Zerglings, they can just make Zealots. It's so hard to defend. Here comes Genius right now, and Rhett trying to flank here, but the force fields are pretty good. The sentries in a perfect spot in the middle of that army.
They are now out of energy, though, and there's nothing available for another Guardian Shield. So if Rhett can start to tip the tide, he's going to be all right. But can he tip the tide? There are so many Stalkers, and they continue to reinforce very quickly.
Yeah, with that Warping, it's going to be so tough. The last Immortal running for its life, almost getting focused down. But as long as Genius plays this safe, Rhett's going to have a very hard time defending against this, making only roaches right now. There is only 1 Stalker and no blink, or only 1 Immortal and no blink for the Stalkers, but the numbers just look too high right now for Genius.
The Stalker count, it's too damn high.
It's too high, man.
Well, anyway, looks like the Overlords pretty much are all dying here. So very soon, Rhett is actually going to be supply blocked on top of this. He just can't afford to wait for Overlords at the moment.
We need to get you to regrow those mutton chops so you can say that and make a picture of it,
with conviction.
That's right. Oh, Rhett trying his best to defend right now, but just does not have enough. The supply is dropping precipitously for him.
Yeah, and those blinks.
Yeah, at the least, he's going to be losing this 3rd base.
Blink Stalkers are all that's left over. The Overlords just continue to perish, and that supply count is just being lowered and lowered and lowered.
You know, he keeps sending in little groups of roaches piecemeal, and it's just not working. I mean, at some point, you do need to just kind of give up your 3rd base and gather up a larger force, but because obviously, you can see this just is not working. Zealot coming from that other side, that's never a good sign. Unless you're a Protoss player, they're like, oh, hey, friend.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for joining the attack. But yeah, now that the Zealots are in here as well, Rhett pulling back, nice pickup with those units to get the other Stalkers in position. Rhett still, with that supply advantage. But keep in mind, supply really doesn't make a whole lot of difference in this particular case. It's more about composition than just how much of something you have. So
yeah,
right now, Genius still looking really strong. Rhett, though, getting a decent concave, but I just can't get that number of roaches high enough. Here come the drones. This is it. This is Rhett's last chance.
And yeah, Rhett's pulling everything off the line. He's already lost quite a few workers, 21 of them as a matter of fact, and those are just continuing to drop. Nice choice to bring in a bunch of Zealots here around the back for Genius.
Oh, nice Stalker pickup as well. Genius, you know, his army control is definitely some of the best in the world as far as Protoss goes. And he's just cleaning up the rest of this army here.
Yeah.
A lot of drones getting lost for Liquid Rhett.
And Rhett is characteristically hanging on until he knows that there is absolutely no hope left. And I do appreciate that, but it's starting to look very, very grim for him.
Yeah, scooting those Stalkers behind the line of the Zealots to make sure he's got the best engagement possible there. Rhett down to 46 supply, not a lot of workers left. And now he's got that great position between the main and the natural, so anything that pops out is just going to die instantly. GG.
And SlayerS is up 3-1.
Yeah, that's getting a bit tense for Team Liquid. SlayerS Genius just killing